Hey guys, my name is Melissa MacDonald, or Miss Mel as most kids call me. I want to talk to you just a little bit about communion. This is specifically for parents. I 100% understand that this season of unknown, the season of quarantine, the season of pandemic can feel really hard and scary. Parents, I want to remind you that this is a great opportunity for you to be the spiritual influence in your kids' life. So you get to disciple them in this, and I want to give you just a few ideas for how to serve communion to your kids. Now, the great place to start with your kids is to explain it. Explain what communion is. I like to, when I explain communion to kids, I like to go to 1 Corinthians 11, and I like to talk about Jesus in the upper room, the Last Supper. But I don't want to get into all of the details and all of it because kids are pretty basic. They just want to know, why are we eating bread and why are we having juice right now? I remember being a little kid and thinking, this is great, we get snack in the middle of church, right? And I know your kids have thought that same thing, and you probably did too. What we want them to understand is we want them to catch the importance of communion. We want to remind them that the bread was broken as a symbol of how Christ's body broke for us. And you want to dwell on that for just a minute, because we don't want to just breeze through that. Oh, it might be too uncomfortable, or it might make the kids, we don't know. Pause there for a minute, because Jesus Christ broke his body for you. He broke his body for your child. If your child doesn't have a personal relationship with Jesus, this is a great opportunity to present the gospel to them. And I'll tell you this right now, the best way for you to present the gospel is not to use a book, not to make sure you get everything right, but to share how you came to know Jesus. Communion's a great opportunity for us to pause, tell stories of what God has done in our lives. So as you hold the bread, maybe share how you came to know Jesus and what Jesus has done in your life, because his broken body made a way for us. Then we talk about the blood. Now, you might think that's so weird, it's hard to talk about blood with kids, but kids need to understand, and I usually go back to the very beginning and explain that when sin entered the world, it separated us from Christ. So way back in the garden, and God's heart was sad because we were created for him, to be in relationship with him. But the punishment for sin is death, and blood has to be shed. But God had a great plan, and he sent his son Jesus. And because Jesus loved us so much, he died on the cross. And when he died on the cross, his blood was spilled out. So when we're drinking this juice, we're not thinking, ew, gross, I'm drinking blood. No, we're pausing, we're remembering, we're thanking God for the fact that he would send his son Jesus to die on the cross and shed his blood so that we could be in a right relationship with him. This is a great opportunity to talk about maybe a time you had to ask forgiveness for someone, or a time that God spoke to you and convicted you of something. Because what you want to do is you pause, you also want to examine and encourage your kids to pause and examine. Is there some sin you need to confess? Is there someone you need to apologize to? Now, this would be a great opportunity for you to point out all of their flaws that you've seen this week. Probably not your best time to do it, because what we want to facilitate is them having a relationship with Christ. Not just mom and dad telling them what they've done wrong, but them understanding what it means to be convicted of sin. So then you talk about the blood that Jesus shed, the beauty of it. Then partake together. Celebrate what God has done. But take a minute and pause. Talk with your kids. You can do this. And in fact, you're going to be so much better at it than I'm going to be, than a pastor's going to be, because you are the number one most important spiritual influence in your kid's life. So partake together and watch what God does in your family during this season.